Tom Diliberto with some insight on those soaring temperatures in parts of Europe and the US. Don't forget, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Kachungira. Do stay here with us on BBC News. Thank you for your company. Bye for now.
Now on BBC World News, the biggest African and international news stories focus on Africa.
This is Focus on Africa from the BBC studios in Nairobi with me, Sophie, Ikenye and Peter Okwoche.
All this week we've been broadcasting from the continent to mark our 10th anniversary, which is tomorrow. Coming up on today's program, a funeral service has been held for the victims of an attack by gunmen on a church in southwest Nigeria 2 weeks ago.
How artificial intelligence and robotics are slowly transforming the future of medicine.
Just how easy is moving to live in a country where you weren't born or raised? We'll check in with Ghana's returning diaspora.
And as we mark the 10th anniversary of Focus on Africa, we remember the man who did the first broadcast.
Indeed, our dear colleague and friend Komla Dumor. We have never before seen footage of him to bring to you. Thanks for joining us here on Focus on Africa. It's a solemn day today in southwest Nigeria as the funeral for the victims of an attack by gunmen on a church 2 weeks ago took place in the town of Okwoche in Ondo State. 40 people, including women and children, were shot dead by the attackers during Mass at the Catholic Church.
Our top government officials joined families of the deceased at a Mass. Following the service, families of the victims took the remains of their loved ones for private burials in the town. Now, this attack is the latest of security challenges that plague the length and breadth of Nigeria. Well, the BBC's Rhoda Odhiambo has more from Lagos.
Well, I'm now joined by Kabiru Adamu, a security analyst for Abuja, to get more on this story. Kabiru, I mean, this is almost an incessant problem that Nigeria is facing as a country. First of all, what do you make about the disparities in the number of people that have been confirmed dead? The government says it's just over 20. The church says it's over 40. Thank you very much for joining us here. Kabiru Adamu, a security analyst, speaking to me live there from Abuja. Let's broaden this out now to the security situation across the continent. Sophie?
Thank you, Peter. In the 10 years that Focus on Africa has been on air, we've covered conflicts on the continent extensively. Today, there are still conflicts causing untold sorrow and devastation for millions of civilians caught between warring groups. Now, the major flashpoints have been in the Sahel region. A decade of conflict has forced more than 2.5 million people to flee their homes. In Burkina Faso alone, the total number of IDPs rose to more than 1.5 million by the end of 2021. 6 in 10 of the Sahel's IDPs are Burkinabe. Now, in the last decade, the Democratic Republic of Congo has known little peace. The country has 5.6 million internally displaced people, the most in Africa according to UN figures. Now, there are at least 1.9 million in North Kivu. That's the province where the current fighting is taking place. Eastern DR Congo has experienced near constant conflict since 1996. Well, in the past decade, Somalia and Kenya have both been affected by attacks of the terror group Al-Shabaab, and this is because events taking place in Somalia have spilled over into neighboring Kenya after the country's defense forces intervened and sent troops to Somalia in 2011. Next door, the civil war in Ethiopia between a federal government and the rebel group Tigrinya People's Liberation Front has left around 4.2 million people displaced. Most are in need of food aid, and hundreds of thousands more face famine-like conditions. And In Mozambique, the Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab, affiliated to Islamic State, has waged a campaign of terror in the northern part of the country. Over 735,000 people have fled their homes since the conflict in Cabo Delgado started in October 2017. Well, let's explore this a little further, and I'm joined by Beverly Ochieng from BBC Monitoring. Beverly, thanks for taking time to speak to us. What has made these regions so vulnerable to conflict? All right, Beverly Ochieng, thank you very much indeed for that insight. Thank you. Thank you. This is a Focus on Africa from the BBC studios in Nairobi. Join us again after this short break.
Welcome back to Focus on Africa from BBC World News, coming from Nairobi. Let's turn to technology on the continent now. And while artificial intelligence and robotics may be considered the future of medicine, for a few South African hospitals, the future is now.
Well, Cape Town's Tygerberg Hospital is proving to be a hotbed of innovation. Robots are already being used in surgery, as well as helping patients connect with loved ones. The BBC's Vumani Mkize visited the hospital to find out how AI is transforming lives. Now, Ghana's government declared 2019 the year of return to mark 400 years since the first African slaves arrived in America. It was also to encourage Africans in the diaspora to return home.
And many did indeed respond to that call and relocated to Ghana. Following that, over 100 African Americans and Afro-Caribbeans were granted Ghanaian citizenship.
But just how easy is it to integrate into a country where you were not born or raised? BBC's Thomas Nadi reports.
Now, the first presenter of Focus on Africa 10 years ago was Komla Dumor, a brilliant and inspiring Ghanaian journalist who was passionate about Africa.
Now, sadly, Komla passed away 8 years ago at the height of his career. Let's remind you of this great son of Africa.
What? Hello, Africa.
The first night was really exciting. We knew we were creating something special.
This is Focus on Africa from the BBC with me, Komla Dumor. Coming up, leaders...
The nerves that day were unbelievable, apart from the one person who was just calm as anything, and that was Komla.
Welcome to the very first edition of Focus on Africa from the BBC. Leaders of the world's biggest economy...
When the first show went out, and we really wanted it to be serious.
What plans the South Sudanese government has for the resettlement of these people?
Some really top interviews and a bit of fun as well. And we came off air, and within seconds, all of our phones were going crazy with people saying, that was amazing.
And you know what? I do work for the BBC, but it's time for me to show my true colors.
I first met Komla in Ghana, in Accra, during the 50th celebration of Ghana's independence from Britain. Komla was a rising star before he even came to the BBC. And if the BBC did anything in his bigger global community, it was that we amplified his voice and strengthened his presence. But Komla was Komla to the end.
How's that look? No? And on Tuesday, full coverage from the palace to the church to the streets of Amsterdam.
When I watch Focus on Africa now, 10 years on, I can still see Komla's stamp all over it. Just the integrity, the depth of knowledge, the quest to just really get to the truth and tell the truth. That to me is Focus on Africa and Komla.
Congratulations and happy anniversary to Focus on Africa television. But now we've got to fight for every viewer and every listener. We've got to prove that people will still pick up the phone or answer the phone, open the door, open their hearts when BBC Focus on Africa comes calling. Unfortunately, they still do. So keep going, Focus on Africa.
See you same time tomorrow.
Komla Dumor, who launched Focus on Africa 10 years ago. We still miss him every single day.
Indeed, big heart,
Big smile, the man with the bear hug, eh?
And a big voice too, really, and love for Africa, obviously, you know.
What a great guy.
Well, you know, that brings us to the end of this special week of programs from the continent. But before we go, we have some special people to mention, really.
Yes, Sophie and I want to thank all the technical people here in Nairobi, Abuja and Lagos who have made our programs happen this week. There are too many of them to mention by name, but every one of them has shown us this week how dedicated they are to bring the news from Africa to you at home.
Our colleagues are a testament to the skills and talent that we have here on the continent. Together we aspire to continue to bring you balanced reporting, not only from Africa, but from across the world.
That's it from all of us. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Hello there. Let's take a look at what to expect with the weather starting off in North America and a light southerly wind feeding up moisture from the Gulf of Mexico.